This week on the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast.
An 18-year-old high school girl is left at home by her parents and decides to have a slumber party. Good for you. Great decision. Meanwhile, a mass murderer...
Like, there was nothing in the trailer that made me think this is not going to be a good time. I think I'm going to like it.
I didn't approach this like House of Wax or Ghost Ship with their big budgets and fancy actors who could act. The front door is open to find a dead pizza delivery guy, his eyes gorged out, who falls through the doorway and lands on the floor, with the pizza still in his dead arms.
Of course. Because he would hold on to the pizza while his eyes are being drilled out.
Yeah. Mr. Content is taking a lot of liberties at coming and going from this house.
Yes. He is a very, very creepy older man who should not be roaming into the house filled with teenage girls.
Yeah, because she was trying to honk the horn to get everyone's attention.
Yeah.
So the victims are quite smart in this movie. Pounding on windows,
It's
screaming.
all of their friends who are just
Their friends are
dumbasses.
morons.
You didn't just like sit there having a full conversation, taking off your clothes.
Yeah, my whole childhood was a lie.
Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared. Damn! And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
All right. Welcome back to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Okay. We're not going to do top song. Not going to do the box office. Okay. We're not going to do box office because there was no box office. It did go to theaters, but it didn't follow. It did more limited stuff, like kind of like what Friday 13th did, just wherever they could put it and make money. It had a $220,000 budget and it made just over almost $3.5 million.
Oh, nice.
So
they did well.
That means woohoo! Tale of the tape. Okay, so Slumber Party Massacre 1982 is a horror movie rated R and comes in at a really fast 1 hour and 13 minutes. That's a short movie. Unless it's really bad, then it's a long movie.
True.
Taglines. You bring the pizza, I'll bring the drill. Close your eyes for a second and sleep forever.
Oh, that's pretty clever.
The ultimate driller killer thriller. That's my favorite.
I kind of want that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, that'd be a great t-shirt.
Right?
With the picture of the movie and then the ultimate driller killer thriller or on the back. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd buy that shirt. Synopsis. Okay. An 18-year-old high school girl is left at home by her parents and decides to have a slumber party. Good for you. Great decision. Meanwhile, a mass murderer with a propensity for power tools has escaped from prison and eventually makes his way to the party where the guests begin dropping off one by one. Here's my most favorite. Actually, IMDb is my favorite. But first, we'll go to the Rotten Tomatoes. 21 critic reviews, 43%.
Wow.
5,000 plus audience reviews, a little on the low side, 46%. So kind of close.
Yeah.
Here's some fresh. The Slumber Party Massacre wonderfully combines the suspense of its horror with its commentary on gender, creating a memorable slasher classic that began a horror trilogy entirely written and directed by women. Amanda Mazzillo, original score 4.5 out of 5.
Wow.
Along with sharp satire and sharp commentary, Slumber Party Massacre is full of clever humor. Emanuela Betty, Bitch Media. That's just awesome.
I want to work there.
If you need a slasher flick, you could do worse.
Thanks, Ken.
Ken Hankey, 3 out of 5. Overall, a horror entry with a little something for everyone, except, of course, the humorless Rob. Original
Nice.
score B. A gruesome, TNA-filled feminist tract about female fears of mature male sexuality. Nick Shagger, Lessons of Darkness,
Sure.
original score B. They're rotten. Slumber Party Massacre is not a great film. The plot is thin and the performance occasionally a little awkward, but there's no doubt that it maintains its shock value. I'll seat Mike McGranagan, 2 out of 4.
Mhm.
Fans of the genre will find very little to appreciate here, while those who aren't fans will find even less. Unless you're desperately looking for a little TNA and blood, then it's best to stay away from this party. Jeff Beck, Examiner, 2.5 out of 5. You get what you pay for a title like this one. 3 out of 10. Wow.
Thanks, Scott.
Brown's script was reportedly a spoof of the slasher film, but what finally reached the screen was merely the same slice and dice nonsense. Matt Brunson, Film Frenzy, 1.5 out of 4. Okay, IMDb. I love these ones. These are like the people who watch the movies. 16,000 user rating, give it 5.6 out of 10. So there's a little bit from everyone here.
Yeah.
They're good. Greatest slasher film ever made. All caps, ever made. Seriously. The Dwarf, 10 out of 10. I figure we might as well give people the
credit.
credit.
Yeah.
Some of these are gold. The best slumber party movie of all. Kida 117?
117.
9 out of 10. I didn't expect it to be so good. Ivan Ravenous, 8 out of 10. Truly entertaining, but deranged slasher flick. Oh shit, I can't see that.
Oh, hold on. Wait for it. Because I'm an old lady. Oh, Jared Koppel, 34311.
There you go. You gave it 7 out of 10. Just so terrible, it's enjoyable. Conventory, 6 out of 10. Now we're going down.
Oh, jeez.
As bare bones as any slasher can get, and it still delivers. So Vomitron / G gave it 5 out of 10. Too cheesy.
Shut up. Leafwine.
Lefovine Draka,
Loftwine?
4 out of 10. The
Mm.
epitome of uninspired, the poor side of trash cinema. Stay _away _from _the metropole.
It's the epitome. The epitome of uninspired.
What I say? The epitome.
Epitome.
Fuck.
I
I tell you, I write books. This is
I was
why
like-
my editor charges so much money.
No, because people look, I will tell you right when you're reading something like live
Yeah.
and you're speaking it while you're reading it for the first time, like out loud, sometimes words, hello, instead of shower, I said shower.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna happen.
This is why you see those news people totally fuck up their.
Yes. They were like, I'm just gonna sound it out. It's fine. It's not like it's a word I say every single day of my life. It's fine. Anyways.
Slightly more entertaining than a drill through the head. The obvious under 35428. 2 out of 10. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you.
Yeah.
To not look at the screen, and I will type
Okay.
because the 1 out of 10s get their own screen.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm not looking at the screen.
Okay, first, a tragic waste of my time and money. N507 Matt, 1 out of 10. How does this have any fans? Question mark. Miho 2018, 1 out of 10. Wow, I don't even know what to say. Terrible movie. Gregory _ Livingston, 1 out of 10. More like Dumber Party Massacre. Brittany Fox, 1 out of 10. And my favorite of all, do I have it here? Hold on. Yes. In the porn version, no one dies. And that's Jesse
Garrick.
Garrick?
Yeah.
1 out of 10.
Thank you, Jesse Garrick.
That was
Nobody
awesome.
knew that was what we needed.
Oh, get out of here.
Oh my god.
All right, so we did the tail of the tape. All that's left is to watch the we'll watch one and then give our predictions, and then we'll watch the other and give our predictions.
Mhm.
So let's do 1982 first. Turn the volume down in my headphones. I've made this mistake a couple times. Here we go.
The basketball team is planning a party. A slumber party. The party begins at 8 o'clock.
Love it too. Do you think I'm getting better?
But be on the lookout for an uninvited guest.
Please, please.
When the pizza arrives, things really start jumping. Some people may have to leave early, but others will hang around and hang around.
You're underage. Negative. Let's go.
I'm not gonna eat that dead guy's pizza.
I feel better already. Really, I do.
But for those who stay, there'll be plenty of surprises and non-stop action. One thing's for sure, no one's getting any sleep the night of the Slumber Party Massacre. Close your eyes for a second and sleep forever.
Okay, my prediction.
Mhm.
I don't remember a lot of this movie. I don't. I have seen it, and a lot of that does kind of look familiar. I'm not expecting Black Christmas,
Mm.
but from what I'm seeing, what I can remember, I am expecting more than, say, Return to Horror High.
Well, yeah. I should hope so.
But I think it looks like a pretty standard 80s slasher movie, but it looks okay. It looks like it'll be fine. Nothing jumped out at me and said, "Oh no."
Yeah. Like, there was nothing in the trailer that made me think, "This is not gonna be a good time." I
Mm.
think it's gonna be a good time. I think I'm gonna like it. I remember liking it, and I remember having a lot of cringe moments for the, like, deaths.
Yeah.
So, I'm wondering if my memory is serving me right. So I'm like, I can't wait to watch it to see if the
Yeah.
deaths are still as uncomfortable as I remember them.
Yeah. Yeah, this looks like it just I'm looking for fun horror
Yeah.
movie. Black Christmas creep me the fuck out.
Yeah, because it's a
Like,
creepy ass movie.
yeah. But this looks fun.
Yeah. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for it.
Okay. We are going to go and watch this, and when we come back, we are going to review this.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, and then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
And now, on with the show.
Welcome back to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast, and we have both watched a Slumber Party Massacre 1982. Before we start, your initial thoughts.
I like them both, actually. Like, very solid, fun horror. The killer was creepier in one than the other, in the 82 than the 21. The 21 felt more fun and a little bit lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And there were marked differences between the two, but they both were really fun kind of horror movies. I'm surprised and delighted.
Yeah, my initial thoughts. I didn't approach this like House of Wax or Ghost Ship with their big budgets and fancy actors who could act. I went into Slumber Party expecting like low budget, a $200,000 horror movie from the early 80s. I wanted boobies and bad acting, but creativity kills, and I wanted to be able to laugh at the stupidity of the characters. And not least, I wanted to have fun watching it, and I got to that in some degree. And the 21, I was expecting a lot from this sci-fi TV movie, a lot. Like I wasn't expecting a lot at all because they've made some horrible movies and TV shows, but they've
Oh
made some
God, yeah.
pretty cool movies and TV shows. But my expectations were super low. I just wanted an upgraded from the 82 version, and it's what I got. It was
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was
I,
actually
I
surprised on both.
I was surprised too. Well, I wasn't fully surprised. I was a little surprised, very delighted because I was like, this could have been a terrible, terrible time.
Yeah.
And I watched them back to back because I love doing that with these. And it was just a delightful afternoon. I was like, this is lovely.
You had your own private slumber parties.
I did.
All right, so now let's go over the movie and see if we can pinpoint where it all went wrong in places and right in other places. And for the most part, I think it went pretty good, pretty right.
Yeah.
Okay,
For what it
so
is. I'd like to
yeah,
point that out. For what it is,
yeah, yeah,
it did very well.
yeah, yeah. For what it was, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so 1982, in a suburban Los Angeles neighborhood, a paperboy tosses a newspaper with the headline that screams, "Mass murder of 5 Russ Thorn escapes." In one house, 18-year-old Trish Devereaux, Michelle Michaels, wakes up, dresses, and gathers some dolls to throw away. Okay, first, Trish wakes up in white panties and a camisole. Shows her
And
boobies right away,
yeah.
extra points right away. But I said this before with just one of the guys. The 80s led me to believe that this was how all girls
Yeah.
woke up.
We do not roll out of bed delicately and then like walk to to the closet and then immediately get dressed.
Yeah.
None of that happens.
A little bluebird didn't land on your finger and
No,
start chirping.
weirdly enough, no. Strange, I
No.
know.
Just so people know, I could hardly find a decent plot until I went on IMDb, and this was by a fan who went really into detail. So, yeah, over her radio alarm clock. Oh, and again, all these 18-year-olds, and for those
Yeah,
listening, I'm making quotations, are in their mid to late 20s.
100%.
And back in 1980, I didn't watch in 92, but back in the 80s, I couldn't care if they were 26 or 56.
No, they had titties. That was what you were focused on. I know.
Yeah.
It's okay.
A news reporter talks about a mass murderer named Russ Thorn who escaped from the state insane asylum where he was incarcerated since 1969 for killing 5 people in nearby Venice, California. I did like the fact that the young woman in the early 80s didn't wear bras apparently, while wearing practically see-through sundresses.
Can I tell you the difficulty I had with this entire thing? Like, not one, especially the more well-endowed ladies, not wearing bras. And I was like, look, I know it's 1982. It wasn't that long ago that it was the 70s where nobody wanted to wear a bra. I get that. Like, they were shitty bras back then. But I'm like, these are a bunch of teenagers. They're gonna wear bras.
Yeah. No.
No, no, apparently not in this movie.
Yeah. Don't listen, Anna. Let your freak flag fly.
Hey, if you wanna free tit it, by all means,
Yeah.
let them loose. I'm here for it.
And it's
They're
funny because you're right, and you're a teenage girl wouldn't do that, and that's what I mean. When you see this, being an adult now,
yeah,
seeing this woman, you're like, that is not an 18-year-old girl.
they all look so old.
Yeah,
We'll get to that. There's one in particular that I'm like, "You look like a 35-year-old woman." It's
yeah.
fine.
And I did like the first on-air caller who thought she won like $100 and she only
Yeah,
won the T-shirt, and she sounded so disappointed.
that was very realistic.
Yeah. Outside, Trisha's parents are leaving for the weekend, and her mother tells her that their next door neighbor, Mr. Content,
I think it's content, yeah.
Conton, who's played by Ryan Kennedy, is there if she needs help with anything. Her parents leave, and Trish throws her bag of old dolls in the trash can and begins to walk to school. As she is leaving, someone takes one of the dolls out of the trash.
Can I just point out that just before the arm reaches into frame to grab the doll, you hear his breathing,
Oh yeah,
but it's not so exaggerated that it sounds like it was done on a soundstage. Like, it really sounds like you're standing next to the creepy heavy breather, and then he
yeah,
just reaches out and take that. I was like, "Oh, excuse me, sound engineer, look at you."
yeah. He probably did it by mistake. And everyone was like, "That's great, man." He's like, "Yeah,
That's what
thanks.
yeah, we did that on
Yeah,
purpose.
that's what I meant to
Yeah.
do." And yeah, he took the Barbie,
Mhm.
which makes sense. It was more anatomically correct than the other dolls. I mean, if you're like a psycho and find that important. At the local high school, two guys named Jeff, played by David Milburn, and Neil, played by Joe Johnson, are talking about girls and about rumors of a slumber party that Trish is throwing at her house tonight. Then Jeff sees and hits on the telephone repair woman named Mary. I did not know that. As
Neither
she's
did I.
fixing a phone line to one of the buildings on the school grounds. I agree with the young boys there. That was a super hot woman fixing the phone line.
She was very attractive. We can all agree on this.
Oh, God.
She didn't know how to hold any of her tools, but that's okay.
Yeah. 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 And I like how the 80s was super obvious. Like there was no hinting around, no build up. It was just straight to it.
Yeah.
Neil pulls Jeff aside and the boys keep walking as the woman stands by her van. Suddenly, a man pulls Mary into the van and drills her to death with a large power drill. I wonder who that could be. This was the second clue that we were in an early 80s low budget horror movie. No one heard the drill.
Yeah.
And when she popped up at the window of the back of the van, pounding the window, and then the first sign of the horror movie was that fucking, and it's throughout the entire movie, the musical score.
Ah.
Yeah,
They tell
that
you when
was,
something dramatic and terrifying is happening. They're like, "Here's where you're terrified."
yeah. And every time I heard that synthesizer, I just pictured a dude on one of those little tiny, just two fingering it because it's too small. I looked up the Casio synthesizer because we talked about that in the trivia,
Yeah.
and it is an actual fairly
Yeah.
big one, but
There are the full-size ones.
I kept thinking that little tiny one that you
Yeah.
got in the 80s as a kid, because that's what it fucking sounded like. Okay. In the school gymnasium, Trish is playing basketball with the rest of her teammates. Trish is part of her school's basketball team. Jeff and Neil arrive to watch the girls practice and discuss the new girl, Valerie Bates, played by Robin Still, whom is also on the court. And why wouldn't they come and watch the game? Not one of those girls was wearing a bra. God bless them. Not one. Not one female running and jumping in that gymnasium was wearing a bra.
This does not surprise me, not even a little bit, because
No.
within the first 3 minutes of this movie, you see a pair of titties.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be one of those. It's gonna be one of those."
Yeah, and that basketball, there were titties flying there and titties flying over there, and I'm surprised the entire male school wasn't in there watching it.
I'm also
Ugh.
surprised.
The girls' coach, Jenna, Pamela Rowlands, yells to the girls to get motivated. I don't even think she was wearing a bra.
Probably not.
Valerie impresses the coach by scoring a few baskets, but the others ignore her because she is the new girl at school.
Mm.
In the locker room showers, Valerie continues to be ignored until Trish approaches her and compliments her on her basketball skills. Now, there were a lot of boobies and a lot of ass.
Yes.
There's a lot in this movie.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure this was a popular rental
I
back in the
believe that.
day.
Yes. There was a lot.
Was it me? And maybe this is my adolescence coming back, full of hopes and dreams. But did it not look like Trish and Valerie were both giving each other like come hither eyes and staring at each other in the shower? Like for not just a second, for like a very
No,
long.
there was eye contact made.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Is that the direction this movie's going?" Because
Yeah.
I did not see that coming. Um, I thought it
Spoiler
was gonna
alert,
build
it's
into
not.
something. And then Jimmy's heart
Yeah.
broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but initially, like, because the first rule of public showers is you don't make eye contact.
Yeah. I don't like making public eye.
Unless you're standing next to each other and you can confirm that
Yeah.
you're only looking at the face,
Yeah.
there's
Eyes
no
up here,
reason to
man.
you don't turn to anybody. You don't look at anybody, you don't make eye contact in public showers, like, them's the rules. So, I was like, from across the room, like, across the showers,
Yeah.
they made, like, a steady eye contact. But
Yeah.
apparently that was just, "I think I wanna be your friend," eye
Yeah.
contact.
I wasn't like a nod, like, hey.
Yeah. It wasn't a I'll meet
It was
you.
a stare off and
It
not
was.
a
It was
mean stare off. It was
they
a
held eye contact, and
yeah,
it was a little intense.
yeah, yeah. A little later, Trish suggests to her teammates, Diane, played by Gina Mary, Jackie, played by Andrew Honor. For a low budget movie, this had a big cast.
Yeah.
And Kim, Deborah Deliso,
Deliso.
Deliso, yes, about inviting Valerie to their slumber party. But Diane rejects the idea and begins to badmouth Valerie to the rest of the girls. Valerie hears the girls and begins to leave until she is stopped by Trish. Valerie, Valerie coldly says that she cannot come over to Trish's house for the party, and she leaves. You know what? That Diane can be a real bitch sometimes, you know?
Honestly, she really was. She was a hardcore bitch, and I did not like her.
Yeah, for someone that didn't even really want to, and we'll get to it, didn't want to stay at the slumber party.
Yeah. She's really worried about who's gonna get invited. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Girl,
Yeah, you don't even want to be there, Diane, you hoe.
she's just new.
Yeah.
Like, she hasn't done anything to you other than be better than you at basketball."
Yeah. Outside outside the gym, the group is leaving as Trish, Jackie, Kim, Diane, and another teammate named Linda,
Mhm.
played by Brinky Stevens. We talked about her quite a bit.
Yep.
Discuss the party, and they are joined by Jeff and Neil. They are observed by the killer Russ Thorne, played by Michael Villela. I don't know if I pronounced that right. A
Yeah,
wild-eyed,
blah.
casually dressed, middle-aged man watching them from the telephone repair woman's van.
Mm.
Linda returns to the gymnasium to her locker to get a book as Russ Thorne watches the group leave, passing by a dumpster with the dead telephone repair woman in it, as well as Coach Jana also leaving the gymnasium. She tells Linda to hurry up because they will be locking the gym soon. I would have thought she would have stayed to make sure she got out. I get it for the sake of the movie, but as an adult and a teacher,
Yeah, but this is the '80s. This was
yeah,
before people
yeah,
started suing for everything.
yeah. As Linda retrieves a book from her locker, she finds that she is locked in the building. She was warned. As she looks for a way out, Russ Thorne appears and walks up to her in the hallway and attacks her with a large phallic power drill. I didn't write it. It's from the plot.
No, but there is one particular point where just before
Yes.
he
I
kills her.
I do get that's the point extension of
Yeah.
his wee wee. But this caught me off guard. His large phallic power drill. Like reading a romance novel. Drilling through her left arm, Linda runs and hides in the dark shower room and under a counter door. After looking around, Thor sees the blood seeping under the door and drills right through it. Okay, she was doing okay until that 4 or 5 gallons of blood she lost went under the
Yeah.
doorway. Also, I made a note when he was standing on the other side of the door. I thought he looked down and saw the blood and went, like, I wonder if that's the blood from the girl I just drilled through. I'm not sure. I had to rewind it. And yes, he did, was like, I
Yeah.
wonder if that's my victim or if that's someone else. Russ is stupid. Linda screams, but her screams do not last long. Thorne runs back to the van and drives off.
Yes.
While walking home from school, Diane meets her boyfriend, John Miner, played by Jim Boyce, who surprises her. John asks Diane if she can get around the no boys allowed rule at Trisha's party. Diane tells John to call her later at Trisha's house to ask again. Across town, Coach Jana arrives home only to be surprised when a drill bit crashes through her front door. Also, when her boyfriend surprised her, he kind of like just snuck up on her and grabbed her. Like they're
Yeah, no,
yeah.
he snuck up and grabbed her, and then she pulled some self-defense move,
Yeah.
tossed him to the ground, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh."
Yeah.
But I was
And
also like, "Why wouldn't you just say, 'Hey'?"
yeah, like,
That's it.
I'm coming up behind you now.
Yeah, a teenage girl walking home alone all of a sudden gets grabbed by a stranger.
The drill bit crashes through her front door. Right. So, but it is only her carpenter Pam drilling a peek hole at her front door. Jenna asked the carpenter if she had seen her pet cat, but she hadn't. They did go out of their way putting women in all of these jobs, and I think that was the point, unless I was missing something.
No, it was the point, I think, because I think this was, Amy Holden's way of getting feminism in there.
Right.
Like, she had to put all the titties in, she had to put all the nudity in, she had to
That
put all of
that
that.
was Roger Corman.
Yeah, it was Roger Corman. So I feel like this was Amy Holden basically being like Amy Holden Jones being like, "No, we're gonna put some feminism in there."
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, Trish arrives home and talks on the phone with Diane until she hears a noise and is scared by Mr. Contant, who offers to sit and wait with her until the girls arrive. He said he didn't mean to scare her. I think he did.
When you walk into someone's house without
Yeah,
being invited in, you're gonna scare them.
he didn't announce himself.
No,
He didn't call it Trish.
nope. He just walked in,
No, he
started roaming
waited and
around.
grabbed her on the shoulder before announcing himself. Yeah, the stupidity boxes were definitely checked off in this movie.
Oh, 100%.
At Coach Janet's house, she hears a noise and opens up a closet door to find her cat Muffin. And Muffin jumps out and scares her. First, how the fuck did Muffin get into that closet and lock himself in?
Nobody knows, but
Yeah,
also can we talk about the fact that her pussycat is named Muffin?
yeah, and I'm
I
calling
giggled.
yeah, but I'm calling him a he.
Sure.
Yeah, too many chicks in this movie. Muffin's a boy cat. female
If that
female
makes you
phone
fe
repairman, female carpenters in the 80s. How absurd.
if that
Muffin's a
makes you
boy
feel
cat.
better, sure.
And someone had to put Muffin in there and shut the door. Muffin didn't do it himself.
Have you
I
ever had a cat? Cats do that kinda shit all the time. You
get
do
into a
have a cat.
closet and then close
Yes.
it? Really? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Those cats get into places and you're sitting there going, "How the fuck did you do that?" And they look at you, "You fucking moron, just get me out." Like, cats are evil geniuses, but also giant morons. It's what they
Yeah,
do.
no, I thought it was either Jana was a bit psychotic or her carpenter was pissed off at Muffin and threw him in the closet.
No, the cat probably just went in to hide there and the door
Yeah.
got closed.
Now, at nightfall, the driller killer, Russ Thorne, arrives in the telephone repair woman's van on Trish's street, where he gets out and lurks in the bushes around Trish's house. Jackie and Kim arrive at Trish's house and show her a bag of marijuana they bought with him and begin to smoke some of it. I don't think they smoked it, did they?
Um,
So I think they were smelling at this point.
at that point, they were just smelling because there was the bag they were talking about, Maui Wowie.
Yeah, because Mr. Cotton walks in and does
Yeah,
not seem to mind and he leaves the house.
correct.
But we agree that Mr. Conton is taking a lot of liberties and coming and going from this house.
Yes, he is a very, very creepy older man who should not be roaming into the house filled with teenage girls without announcing
Oh.
himself or asking if he can even come in.
Yeah. Oh, the 80s. Coincidentally, the other next door house to the left of Trisha's, I think it's across the street, is the Bates home where Valerie is with her younger 14-year-old sister, Courtney, played by Jennifer Myers. This was Courtney, and I thought Courtney was a fine actress. Jennifer Myers, this was her first and only movie that she ever did.
Wow. Courtney or Jennifer Myers, as we are calling her, also looked like she was 35 and she was supposed to be the younger sister.
Yeah, so she would be like 15, 16.
I
Yeah,
was assuming 15 or 16,
yeah, she looked older too.
but she looked older than her older sister. Like it was concerning.
Yeah. They were looking, and Valerie's looking after Courtney while their divorced mother is away for the weekend as well. This person loved this movie because they knew stuff, they know stuff, or they're making it up.
Also very possible.
Yeah. Valerie checks outside when she hears a noise to see an overturned trash can. And yeah, Courtney's a little pervert with her Playgirl
Mhm.
magazine, Sylvester Stallone issue.
Yes, of course.
I was a little offended.
Why
Playgirl.
Playgirl wasn't as there weren't a lot of dicks. We're gonna put that.
Oh, no? No,
No.
I knew Sylvester Stallone wasn't gonna be naked, and
No,
I
no,
thought that
no.
was the big
A
interview.
lot of the like pictures were really toned down or
Oh,
they
okay.
weren't full frontals, like not like Playboy.
Yeah.
Because apparently people thought women didn't buy those magazines
Yeah.
for pictures. It was just for the articles.
Yeah.
How wrong they were.
Yeah, because later she's like really getting into that
Yeah.
magazine. Looking at men like they're pieces of meat. It's gross. Me- Meanwhile, Jeff and Neil arrive and lurk outside the house on the other side to watch the girls change their clothes. And they're smoking more pot and they make a fire in the fireplace. I guess that's what they were watching. Inside the house, the girls hear a noise and investigate the kitchen, only to find that Diane has arrived. Trish suggests ordering a pizza, and Diane goes outside to get more wood for the fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
First, how bad did you want some Kool-Aid?
So much.
Do they
So
even
when
make
I
that
saw her,
one anymore? Like where
yeah,
you put and you have to add your
yeah,
own sugar? Yeah,
yeah,
okay. It's
they
been a
still
long
make
time since
that.
I had Kool-Aid
Yeah, well, it's not like Kool-Aid was ever unsweetened. It was always sweet. You just added more sugar to make it
to make it
sweeter.
sweeter. Yeah.
Yeah. So when she was making it, and I was like, "Oh shit,
Yeah,
Kool-Aid."
I could go for some
Like,
Kool-Aid.
I have the little Kool-Aid, like,
The
water flavor
Mio, yeah,
squeeze.
you
Yeah,
squeeze it. Yeah, I've got
those.
those. Yeah.
I've got those, but I was like, "How long has it been since I've used, like, powdered Kool-Aid?"
Yeah, the powder stuff. I was like,
It's been forever.
probably tastes better too.
Uh, Probably, yeah.
Just add whatever
Tastes like
sugar you
sugar.
want. Yeah. She meets Mr. Content, who is chopping snails with a meat cleaver. What is this dude's problem?
He's super weird, and also, you can just move the snail.
Yeah, pick it up and
Pick it
chuck
up,
it.
put
For
it in a
those
bucket.
yeah, for those listening, and if you've never seen the movie, Diane is getting wood for the fireplace as she sees a snail and kind of screams, says gross, because we all know how dangerous and gross snails are.
Mhm.
And this fucking chooch, again, doesn't announce himself behind poor Diane. He just brings a meat cleaver down and obliterates the snail.
Yep.
And between you and me, I don't think that was a stunt snail.
No, I don't think so either.
But this guy has a problem with not announcing himself.
He just shows up and apparently now with weapons,
Yeah, thank God he doesn't have a gun.
right?
Someone would get hurt. Diane says goodnight to him and leaves. Just as Mr. Content is preparing to snag another snail, the driller killer walks up to him from behind and drills him through the neck. Again, for a low budget early 80s horror film, the effects were pretty good.
Yeah. I did notice that a lot of the actual deaths did happen off screen, which I was like
Yes.
totally fine with.
And smart, maybe,
Yeah.
because I think they pooled their money for
For the
what can we make
smaller
look really
injuries.
good?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what can we, yeah.
It would have totally blown their budget if they had done everything,
Yeah.
like if all the deaths had been on screen. But I like that the injuries were on screen, and I like that some of the deaths were on screen, but not all of them.
Not all of them. Yeah. Yeah.
Because they still communicated clearly, this dude's dead.
Yes. And yeah, and kind of showed what happened to
Yeah.
them. Yeah, and I would take for an older movie, I would take quality over
Yes.
quantity. Yeah. Jeff and Neil, yeah, but and then when he got killed, Jeff and Neil were right around the corner. Like one of them even says, "Did you hear something?"
Yeah.
What, like a power drill going through someone's throat?
Apparently everybody in this movie is hard of hearing.
Yeah. A little later, Russ Thorne continues lurking outside the house, and just when he is about to climb in through a window, Trish appears and closes the window, unaware that he is there.
Mm.
When she looks again, this is when she sees a melted doll, the same one she threw out in the garbage earlier, stuck up to the window with the meat cleaver. I didn't even notice it was the meat cleaver.
It was the meat
It
cleaver.
was, yeah.
I noticed that.
Just
I was like,
look,
Mr. Content's not coming back.
I'm just looking around the meat cleaver, seeing whose boobies are hanging out.
Well, apparently while they were changing very casually in the living
Yeah.
room.
See, and I
Everybody's
thought
boobies.
girls did that too. Apparently not.
No, we all went into bathrooms, and if you did change, you turned your back to your friend.
Which kind of
Like,
makes sense.
you didn't just, like, sit there having a full conversation, taking
No.
off your clothes.
Yeah. My whole
So
childhood was a
weird.
lie. Trish and Diane go to the garage to check if there is someone there and see that it is not locked. Diane calls John on the phone while the stoned and giggly girls listen to the line. Diane hears them and tells John to come over soon. That was kind of funny. I did like that scene. I don't remember them smoking pot though, but it's something girls would do. They would like listen to, some guys would do too, listen to their friends talking.
Oh,
But
100%.
then she's like, "Do you think I'm getting better?"
Oh,
uh,
God.
Men don't care, honey. And if he doesn't appreciate the effort, fuck him. Just then, the lights in the house go out. The girls go to the garage to check the fuse box and find some fuses missing. They are scared by Jeff and Neil, and in turn, Jeff gets punched by Trish for scaring them. Trish forces them to reinstall the fuses, making the lights in the house come on again, and all of them go inside. Now, next door, Valerie. No, this is wrong. It's across the road. Valerie hears a noise again, and she sees both trash cans lying down on the ground. Courtney
I
thinks
don't think
that
it's across the road. I think it's next door.
is it next.
Because they're not when they look out the
Aren't they able
window,
to look in?
they're
into
able
the
to
house?
look into the house, but it's not the front door. It's a side window or a
It's the
side
side
door.
window. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Now that you said that, yeah, yeah,
Look at me paying attention.
yeah. No, this person was right. I should have got her name, his name, her name. Yeah, their name. Courtney thinks that it might just be some stray dogs looking for food. Courtney looks through her bedroom window at Trisha's house, curious about the party going on, and she sees John pulling up on the driveway in his car. John honks his car horn, and Diane comes out saying she cannot leave right now. John pulls his car into the garage.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, Courtney suggests crashing Trisha's party while Valerie brushes her hair. Valerie tells her sister that she just wants to be alone and does not feel very sociable. In Trisha's garage, Diane and John are making out in the car while the others are inside. And this is where our trivia segment ruined it for me. Uh, that was a real breast being fondled,
Yes,
but it wasn't Trisha's. It was a stunt titty.
I know. I'm sorry. But my
Like
God, was that an extreme close up?
that was a very extreme close up of that boob.
I was like, that's a lot. That is so close. Like you could see when he touches the nipple, you can see it just kind of I was like, that's
Yeah,
so close. That was not necessary.
like it's like they didn't want to get any shot of possibility of who was the stunt double,
Pretty much.
the stunt boob. Uh, John suggests going over to his house for some intimate time, and Diane goes in the house and tells Trish that she and John are going out for beer. Trish, aware that Diane only wants to go someplace to have sex with John, replies, "You don't have to ask my permission." Diane. Diane returns to the car where she gets in the front seat only to find John's head falling off his body. She screams, but her screams are not heard because the girls inside are running a blender to make margaritas. Diane crawls out of the car and is killed by Thorne, who is still in the garage.
Hmm.
Thorne is a very lucky serial killer.
He really is.
Like distracted teenage boys, neglectful teachers, blenders. Like he's
Apparently,
just
the blender is so loud you couldn't
yeah.
hear anyone screaming. But
Well,
that's
that
fine.
yeah, because that actually brings this up. Next door, Courtney thinks that she hears honking and screaming, but Valerie says that it's nothing. Yeah, because she was trying to honk the horn to get everyone's
Yeah.
attention. So the victims are quite smart in this movie, pounding on
Yes.
windows,
It's all of their
screaming.
friends who are
Their
just
friends are morons.
dumbasses.
Yeah, because Courtney was not across the road, but next door, and she heard it.
She
But
heard the honking. She heard the screaming from next door.
the
These are not
blender
attached
inside the
row
house.
houses. Like, there's a good solid 20 or 30 feet. So you're telling me the people in the house,
Yeah,
approximately 10 feet away, just running a blender too loud? Can't
drowning
hear
it
them?
out. Well, it makes sense. It's 1982. It's probably 70s blender, so it's probably running on like a 100 horsepower motor.
No, no, no. I have a blender from the 80s. And
Oh, tell me it's green.
it's not, unfortunately.
Uh,
It's beige. But it does have brown buttons. Uh, still
and it probably
works,
and it still works. And it
but it's
probably
quieter than my NutriBullet.
oh, is it really?
It is.
We were talking about this the other day about things that we have from like the 70s and 80s or had that still
Yeah.
worked. Yeah. And now you get some. You're lucky if you get a couple years of them.
Tell me about it.
That's you're getting old. You start complaining about that.
Especially kitchen appliances.
Yeah. Courtney again asks Valerie if they could go over to the party, but Valerie again refuses. Courtney retreats to the bedroom while Valerie stays downstairs and turns on the living room TV to watch a movie. At Trisha's house, the front doorbell rings and the group thinks it's the pizza guy. Jeff asks through the door, "What's the damage?" He hears a voice through the door saying, "6 so far," meaning he's killed 6 so far, but
Yeah.
they think it's $6 for a pizza. $6 for a pizza.
Yeah, right?
What a wonderful era we missed out on.
Oh, God.
Tim and Jackie are on the phone with Coach Jana to ask about an upcoming basketball game, and the front door is open to find a dead pizza delivery guy, his eyes gorged out, who falls through the doorway and lands on the floor, with the pizza still in his dead arms.
Of course.
The- that was an amazing feat.
Because he would hold on to the pizza while his eyes are being drilled out.
Yeah. The girls scream and Trish hangs up the phone to call the police, but Thorne cuts the phone lines. Coach Jana hears the screaming on the other line before she gets cut off. Jana tries calling the girls back, but there's no answer. Coach Jana calls Valerie, suggesting checking out the house, and she says that she will drive over there to help check it out herself. Did you not hear the dial tone when they dropped the phone?
The dial tone
Like they
didn't happen
dropped
right
the
away.
phone and there
And
was
then
a
there was a
dial
dial
tone.
tone, yeah.
Yeah. So the phone was still working. And this just
Yeah,
goes
because it
back.
was during the 911 call.
Yeah.
They call 911, and just as she's giving her address, that's when he cut the phone line.
Yeah. But it wouldn't go back to a dial tone, would it?
No, then at that
No.
point, there was no dial tone. There was a dial tone when
Oh, okay.
when Coach was listening on the phone and they hung up on her.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, this just goes back to the horrible neglect of that school district's teaching body. Like, she heard the screaming, she couldn't get an answer back. Then she calls, "Hey, teenage girl, I heard some shit over at Diane's. It might be pretty bad. Go check that out."
Right? And then she's like, I don't really feel like going. No,
Yeah.
you probably shouldn't leave the house.
Yeah.
I'll drive
Yeah.
over and check myself. I was like,
Yeah.
or you could just call the police.
Yeah. Well, maybe she was busy watching Fantasy Island. And then she was gonna go over, and then she's like, "Ooh, a new Love Boat's coming on right after." Because it took her a while to get over there. But anyway,
Honestly, yeah. I was like, did you like take a shower, get dressed, maybe grab a meal? I'm like, why did it take you so long?
in Trisha's house, Jeff and Neil arm themselves with kitchen knives and begin to lock all the doors and windows of the house. After a while, Jeff suggests that they make a run for it to get help. Neil decides to make a run for Valerie's house, while Jeff will make a run for Mr. Compton's house to get to a phone. Trish and the girls reluctantly agree. Jeff goes out the back door while Neil runs out the front door. But by splitting up, the guys guarantee their own demise. Jeff has to run through the backyard and through the garage to get out the back way, where he finds a dead Diane in the garage. Thorne is in the garage waiting for him and drills Jeff in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Thorne then returns after Neil, who makes it to Valerie's front door and begins frantically knocking and screaming for help. But Valerie it actually says this, either ignores the knocking or doesn't hear it due to the loud television.
I think she ignores it because she keeps looking over and being like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And
like
that was
multiple times.
yeah, and that was a fucking tube TV. There was no surround sound. There was no Dolby Atmos or 9.1 surround.
No, very true. Very
And
true.
how the fuck did Thorne know where to go? I mean, really. He is
This
so
was,
lucky.
but this was high school in the 80s.
Yeah.
Or Thorne literally just followed the sound of him pounding on the door
Yeah, that could have been it. Yeah. I wonder
and
where he went.
screaming,
There
Valerie,
he
let me
is.
in.
I know where he is. Courtney doesn't hear Neil calling for help either because she is on her phone in her bedroom talking to a friend while playing loud rock music on the radio. Thorne approaches and attacks Neil, in which he managed to twist the knife Neil has from his hands and gorily stabs the boy to death. When Valerie finally goes to the front door, she cannot see anything as Thorne is carrying Neil's dead body back to the garage and throws him in the trunk of John's car, where the dead bodies of John, Mr. Continent, Diane are stuffed in. And can we go back? That was a lot of stabbing. And
Yeah.
it seemed like there was a lot of blood.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
None of it ended up anywhere.
no, Thorne either cleaned it up or Valerie's a little deaf and a little blind.
Yep. Well,
This
she
movie
also
was
didn't open the
great.
door. She just kind of looked through the window and she's like, "Oh, nobody's standing directly in front of my door."
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
And then she kind of walked away.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Everyone's doing everything right. It's just their friends suck.
Yes.
Thorne counts the bodies and realizes that one is missing. It is Jeff, who, despite being gravely wounded, is crawling back towards the back door. And he didn't just count them once, he counted them a few times, like double
Yeah.
checking his math.
Well, you wanted to be
That was
sure.
awesome. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inside, Trish, Diane, and Kim sit in a circle with knives in their hands. Jackie goes for the dead pizza boy's delivery and enjoys a slice of pizza. That was kind of funny.
That
Eating
was
always
pretty
helps me
funny.
feel better. She's like, takes a bite. Look, I'm already starting to feel better. Jackie didn't hear, but none of them heard Jeff's. Well, actually, Jeff
Yeah.
was only scratching at the back door.
Yeah, he wasn't banging, he wasn't screaming. He just
No.
kinda crawled over and was kinda like, "I'm gonna gently touch this door."
Yeah, he couldn't squeak out a, "Hey, it's me, Jeff," or "Help."
Apparently not.
Now they hear the scratching, but they are too afraid to open the door and think it might be a trick.
Mm.
Then they hear Thorne approach Jeff and drill him to death. So, but at that one, you can't really blame them. The scratching,
No, I can't blame him for that.
That was Jeff's fault. Sorry,
Yep.
Jeff. Valerie sees. Oh, wait. Meanwhile, Coach Jana gets in her car and begins to drive over to Trisha's house while Valerie goes upstairs to find Courtney gone. So Love Boat finished. Coach
Mhm.
decides might as well go over and check it out. Not call the cops, like you said.
No, 'cause that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, that would just be stupid.
Right?
Valerie sees her sister walking to Trisha's house and runs after Courtney. Courtney sees Valerie approaching and ducks away from her by running around the side of the house. Valerie goes up to the front door and rings the doorbell and knocks on the front door. When she gets no reply, she leaves. Jackie runs to the front door from the kitchen to let Valerie in, and when she opens it, Thorne is now standing there and swipes the drill across Jackie's neck, killing her.
Mm.
Trish and Kim run upstairs and barricade themselves in Trish's bedroom. Great instinct, horrible execution.
Mhm, 'cause they didn't think to close the window.
They barricaded the door, left the
Yep,
window
wide open.
wide. The window wasn't even shut; it was wide open.
Yep. He did not have to bring up the window pane, he didn't have to do any of that. There was
And
no work for him.
that was good. He quiet. You could see him. He
Yeah,
acted quiet, like he
yeah.
quietly put his leg in and then then. Meanwhile, Valerie finds Courtney in the back of the house and she tells her that she does not think anyone is home after looking in the windows and seeing no one. Was it just me or did Valerie go around that house a lot? Like she went around that house a few times.
Yeah.
Valerie tells her that she will check the front door again. She walks inside the house through the front door after finding it conspicuously wide open after knowing the front door was closed and locked just a few minutes ago. Valerie calls out the girls' names, and upstairs, Kim wants to respond, but Trish suggests that Valerie might be helping the killer. Uh, so, if you're not a victim, you really are an idiot in this movie.
Okay, but I'd like to point something out. Trish, through this entire movie,
Was
has
pro
been
Valerie.
she was actively trying to kill all of her friends.
Mhm.
Like, everything that got her friends killed, it's because Trish, like, either fully endorsed it or suggested it.
Yeah, yeah,
So, Trish is really the killer of this movie.
yeah. Looking around the downstairs and finding nobody in sight, Valerie walks out through the kitchen into the backyard to find Courtney gone. Fucking Courtney.
Jesus.
Upstairs in Trish's bedroom, Trish and Kim talk about what they are going to do when Thorne sneaks in through a window and attacks them. Trish defends herself by knocking the driller killer down with a baseball bat and then tries moving the furniture away from the blocked door. You keep hitting him, honey. Come on.
This is horror movie 101.
Yeah,
You keep
definitely.
hitting until something stops you.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you see a lot of white meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Thorne quickly revives and Kim attacks him with a knife. Thorne twists the knife out of Kim's hand and stabs her to death. Trish runs and hides in her parents' bedroom closet. Trish just left Kim there. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
Didn't even try to help.
No, she was stabbed, but she
Yeah.
didn't even consider sticking around.
Nope.
Not even
She was like,
for a
"Oh,
second.
you've got Kim? Cool.
Yeah.
I'm out. Bye."
I will give her bonus points for hiding in that I don't even know what that was called, that clothes curtain carry thing because it was
Oh, the garment
plastic.
bag?
Yeah, should have just stayed in there.
Sorry, the clothes carry plastic thing.
I have great editors. They really earned their money.
I can see that.
Oh. Now, while Thorne searches for Trish upstairs, Valerie goes outside and finds Courtney, and they go back inside Trish's house. Why wouldn't you? Where
Of
they find
course.
where they find Kim's dead body in the refrigerator. This is the plot saying, note there is a minor plot hole here. Minor plot hole just here?
Aw.
As well as some cheating, as one would wonder why in the world would the killer drag Kim after having killed her upstairs downstairs to the kitchen to stuff her in the refrigerator and in such a short time. That was
Also,
her note.
especially to be able to do that, you'd have to take out all of the shelves from the refrigerator,
Yeah,
all of the food, all
yeah,
of the like everything that was in there, and shove a body in there.
yeah. Now, that was a fun scene, even
Yeah.
though the weight of the body would not allow it to happen. But this is
Yeah.
why we watch cheesy B horror films, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah. Both girls scream, and Thorne hears them. Valerie sees the shadow of Thorne on the stairway and hides in the basement while Courtney ducks under the living room couch. I have to say, Valerie was kind of like, run, bitch, you're on your own. Because she did yell run to Courtney and close that basement door pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like, Courtney could have made it to that door at basement and went down with her. But she
She
was
could
like,
have, but
yeah,
then how would someone watch Thorn if no one was underneath the couch?
yeah,
But I do think the reason why Valerie screamed out, "Run, Trish," and the door was left open was to try and misdirect Thorn.
could have been. Yeah,
Unfortunately, he's like, "Well, I still have a victim here at least,
yeah.
so I'm not gonna leave."
Thorne walks downstairs and looks around to see no one. He closes the front door and drags the dead pizza guy away into the basement, while Valerie hides under the basement stairs. Then, for some odd reason, Thorne, this is the plot, Thorne lies down on the living room floor and covers himself with a blanket.
Mm,
Because by now he knows, for whatever reason, the next moron that shows up will look under the blanket.
of course.
Also, how unlucky for Courtney.
Oh, Jesus.
Points for not screaming herself away, though, and giving
I
herself up.
know.
Yeah.
Courtney did well through this whole thing.
Yeah. A few minutes later, Coach Jenna arrives at the house and calls out the girls' names and walks inside.
Mm,
Courtney, still hiding under the living room couch, just a couple feet away from Thorne. Trish, still hiding upstairs, and Valerie, still hiding in the basement. Do not call out in fear of being discovered by the killer. When Coach Jenna appears, a figure covered on the living room floor, Thorne jumps up and goes after the coach with the drill, while she defends herself with a fireplace poker. No, Coach Jenna actually pulls back the blanket like Thorne knew she would.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he knew she wouldn't be able to help herself. She'd have to check that out. Courtney intervenes and trips Thorne, who gets beaten by the coach with the fireplace poker. And Trish runs and stabs Thorne once in the back. He sits back up and slashes Coach Jenna across the chest with the drill, killing her, and knocks Trish to the floor. Did he kill her right there?
He didn't kill her right there. She stayed
Yeah,
alive for a while, and
for a while.
that's where he started talking creepy.
Yeah. Yep. Because speaking for the first time, Thorne makes a remark to Trish how pretty she is and that all of her friends are very pretty. The driller killer tells Trish that it takes a lot of love for a person to do this.
Mm,
Okay. Okay. Give me a moment here.
you okay? Deep breath.
Yeah. No,
Deep breath.
this next part. Just then, Valerie runs up from the basement. Okay. We'll get back to this. All this fighting was going on, and MacGyver downstairs
Mm,
looked like she was trying to put together a weapon. But when she found the power saw, I prayed that it was a plug-in. I wanted it so bad, but thought no. And I know you're all listening to this and saying, but Jimmy, they wouldn't have her run upstairs with a plugged-in power drill and have it snap back down the stairs like a Roadrunner cartoon. That is exactly what I'm telling you. And I actually have a clip because it was so awesome.
least she had an extension cord, okay?
That was
I don't
the
know why she
best.
thought that extension cord was 100 feet long, but she had an extension cord.
That scene alone made me like this movie. And lucky for her, because it was right then that she saw the giant machete hanging on the wall.
Yes. Yes.
So silver linings. Wielding a large machete and swinging it at Thorne, who runs out the back door and stands by the backyard swimming pool while Valerie continues swinging the machete at him. With a powerful swing, Valerie chops off his drill bit. Get it? And further attacks, chopping off Thorne's left hand and slashes him in the abdomen, in which he falls into the pool. Valerie drops the machete and she and her sister embrace. Thorne crawls out of the pool and jumps atop Valerie to get at the machete. Courtney tries to stop him, but Thorne pimp slaps that little hoe. Okay, I added that last little bit to that plot. But that was a fucking slap.
It was a good slap.
Slaps her in the face and knocks her aside. Trish runs out and attacks him again. Thorne knocks Trish down and jumps for Valerie, who grabs the machete, and he lands right on top of it. Thorne falls to the ground, dead at last. The shaken Trish, Valerie, and Courtney look on as the police sirens are heard in the distance. Who finally called the police? Like, I'm asking, like, who the fuck called the...
I don't know. Maybe it
Probably
was
a
the
nosy
neighbors
neighbor,
across
yeah.
the street who were
Yeah,
like,
like-
there's a group of girls and they're being just really loud.
Yeah. Go
They're
stop
running
that.
power tools in the middle of the night.
Yeah. That someone's got a drill in there and they just keep using it. And people are
Yeah.
screaming and yelling for help.
They
I'm
just
trying to get
caused
some
a lot of
fucking
noise.
sleep.
It was a noise complaint.
Okay. So that was the movie.
Yes.
Now your score.
$6.7.
You always do a point.
Because I can't just do like this one, as most of them are not just a solid like landing in one category. So like I can see why I liked it before. I still like it now. I still think it's a good time. However, it was made in 1982
Yeah.
by a super creepy producer.
God
So-
bless them.
There
I could just see the notes.
yeah. More titties.
More
More
titties.
titties. Can we get more titties? How about now? More titties? I know those are the notes.
Yeah.
So that did not travel well with through time. So, but it wasn't super. This is terrible to say. Like it's exploitative, but it's not. I don't know why I said that word that way, but I did. It's exploitative, but it's not in your face exploitative. You know what I mean? Like it's not so out of place where you're like, what? Like you saw the titties while they were changing or taking a shower.
Yeah.
Did we need those scenes? No. Were they complete throwaways? No, because you still had conversations happening and you were still learning about the characters. So technically they were still useful. So that's where I kind of went between pretty kind of good, but leaning more towards very, really good. Because I'm like, it's still a fun horror movie from the 80s that's super cheese,
Yeah.
really funny, a little creepy.
Yeah.
So that's my 6.7.
6.7. Yeah. And I always write mine down. Slumber Party Massacre 1982 didn't reinvent anything here, but whereas other horror movies we watched, like Ghost Ship, Graveyard Shift, House of Black, with the big budgets and capable actors, I went into Slumber Party Massacre expecting bad acting, bad dialogue, cheesy score, semi-decent effects, and some... And that's what I got, because it's 1982. What I also got was some fun. It was bad. It was a bad movie, but it was
Yes.
a fun movie. And when it comes to low-budget horror movies, that's what we're looking for, and we wouldn't be watching them if they weren't. You don't stream Slumber Party Massacre expecting a new Scream movie or the new Halloween movies. You automatically lower your bar on the overall movie in exchange for some fun. Again, Slumber Party Massacre is not a good movie, but it is one if invited to, I would definitely go to again for fun and some titties. No, I give it a 6.5. It was just a fun, cheesy movie.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you're right. It wasn't exactly. No, I can't say the fucking word. Exploitive?
Exploitative
Yeah, one of those ones.
or exploit
I don't want to say it was organic, but it was kind of like you said it was. There were boobies, which back then I think what people, if they're our age, get it. That sold the movie. That
Yeah,
sold the horror movie, and that's why people went and watched them. That's why people rented them over and over again while they had slumber parties, while they had their friends over and stuff like that.
because it was risque. So for, like, a teenager, this kinda movie was risque. Not only did you have, a creepy old man
Yeah,
running around trying to kill people, but you also had, teenagers doing drugs and drinking and, you know, showing their tits, and you're
yeah,
just, like, sitting there going and it's weird because normally I get really frustrated if they throw the tits in for no good goddamn reason.
yeah, just for
Yeah,
yeah,
like, just for tits, but I'm like, it's weird because the tits actually had a purpose. Like, they w like, this sounds so weird, and I know it's gonna sound weird, but when you're in like, a shower scene, you can do it so that you don't see the breasts,
yep,
but they just chose to because the creepy producer,
yeah,
he wanted titties, and this was the compromise. So,
yeah,
like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, well, I'm need to keep the producer happy, but I don't wanna do it just for no reason,
yeah.
and that was the compromise. Are there a lot of tits in this movie? Yes. A whole
Sure,
lot of them,
whole
but don't
lot of titties.
worry, they're all super perky,
Yeah, yeah.
like
They're
teenage
30-year-old
breasts usually
titties,
are. Yeah, I'm impressed.
or 27 or 28. There was a
Yeah,
lot of old.
but there's a lot of old titties.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, it's a very weird but I mean, this is what it was standard in horror movies
yeah,
from the late '70s, early to mid '80s, and even into the '90s, I'd say. Like, there's
yeah.
very
You're
much
straight to VHS
yeah,
or straight to video. Yeah, rentals.
it was still very prevalent.
Yeah,
And I mean, they make a joke about it in what is it? Scream, the first Scream, where it's like, when do we see her breasts?
yeah,
Because it happens in every horror movie.
yeah.
And then
And you're right. If
Jamie
this
Lee
was
didn't
just a
show her tits
10,
till she went to Legits.
yeah, and
Love
then
that movie.
yeah, if this was just a 10-minute scene of just girls showering,
Yeah.
I get that would be like,
Or if it was them showering with no conversation
yeah,
and not talking about anything, or without that weird intense look from across the like shower room.
yeah,
Like, but there were things happening that did actually pertain to the story,
yeah,
as flimsy as the story is. But I mean, it works. It's still a good time. It's a fun movie. Can you do it without the tits? 100% yes, you can.
yeah. You can. Not in 1982. You couldn't. I mean,
Well,
you
no.
could have,
Not
but
with this producer. How about that?
oh yeah, no, not with this producer.
Yeah.
No. Now, why I liked it initially, the titties.
Yeah.
No. Well, I'm back then that was obviously like yeah, that was part of it, but Scream movies and the new Halloweens and the big budget horror movies overall, they were very non-existent on the regular back then.
Mm,
So once in a while a moderate budget horror movie would come out, but this would have probably been a little scarier when I was younger, and these were the horror movies. We didn't have all these The Conjuring
yeah.
and Scream
Insidious
and all
and
that. Yeah, and we didn't have those. These were our horror movies. Every now and again, there would be a really good Nightmare on Elm Street or a decent Halloween or something like that. But yeah, it wasn't horror wasn't as there were a lot of them, but they were very low budget.
yeah, they weren't really considered film at the time.
No,
Nobody was ever saying this is a movie you want to watch or you should watch.
yeah,
Whereas now we have, Jordan Peele with Get Out and Nope and stuff like that, and you're just sitting there going, "Yeah." Like, now there's more respect put on horror's name.
yeah,
There wasn't as much in the '80s.
no. So buy it, rent it, stream it, skip it. If you liked it then, I would say stream it because it's available on a few sites. But
Mhm.
if you remember liking, I would say it's worth a rental if you can't find it. If it wasn't available on a streamer, like it's worth a couple bucks. Watch with friends or a partner who also remembering liking it will definitely enhance that experience. What about you?
Or really anyone who was a fan of like B horror.
Yeah.
Like definitely renting it, definitely worth it. If it's on sale, like for cheap,
Yeah.
I think it's worth a buy.
Sometimes you run across that it's almost just as much to
Yeah.
they have it rented for $5 or buy it for $5. Yeah.
It's worth the $5.
Yep.
I'd even go so far as to say 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is available on more than one streaming site.
It is.
Yeah. So it is you can find it is worth. If you've never seen it,
It's worth a stream. I
Yeah.
wouldn't rent.
yeah, I put stream it for the silliness.
Yeah.
And it is the more feminist take of an 80s slasher.
Yeah. There's a
Um,
female carpenter.
Yeah. And phone repair, like they're all
Yeah.
hot.
Well, of course.
But
They're
they are
very
females.
attractive and their jeans are very tight.
Yep.
But they use power tools.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking,